What's up, Wretched Nation? Today we're going to be riding my father-in-law's Street Glide and talking about Street Glide versus the Road Glide. It's my bike there, that's his bike here, and we'll go over a little ride on it. Now first, I have already ridden 400 miles on this bike before, and they're the exact same year, so there's really nothing, one advantage to another. I've ridden this bike in stock form. I actually haven't ridden it since he got the new handlebars on and the new seat. So let's go take it for a ride. Alright guys, let's go hit up Ocean Boulevard and ride a little bit. But first and foremost, I will say I don't hate the Street Glide. It's just not the bike for me. And a little bit of that is just aesthetics. I will say, even though there are some advantages and disadvantages, I don't feel like the bike is, for a Street Glide to a Road Glide, I don't feel like the bike is one way or the other so much an advantage or disadvantage that one is a clear winner, because I definitely think that it's up to your opinion or what you like in a bike. Me personally, I will say the 2017s on up are a lot better than the older models. I just feel like they're a better bike overall, and they don't have the same issues as the older ones do. My biggest complaint was always that the fairing was so close, it didn't feel like a bagger. It felt more like a tricycle, and I just had something right in my face that I didn't want. Now, I don't know if it's just the seating position, the bar position, even with the stock bars. The stock bars suck. I mean, don't get me wrong, they sucked on the Road Glide, but it doesn't feel the exact same way. Because this bike could be an advantage to you, feeling like a smaller bike and having everything a little bit closer to you. I definitely like this bike way more than I did the older models. But that being said, in my opinion, there's some clear issues to this bike. And the main thing just being the phone door. In my opinion, that's probably the worst part about it, which isn't that big, but on my Road Glide, I've got a two pockets here, whereas this one just has this little door right here, and that opens up where mine closes. And there's a key reason why I don't like that door, is because there's a little like foam taco in there that will hold your phone. It'll slide in there and it'll hold it, but only if you have a really small phone or you don't have a case on your phone. So if you have a case on your phone and you want to put it in there, like most people, you have to take that foam holder out. And coming back from New York in the middle of the night, I was riding with him. It was right after he got this bike, and we hit a gigantic bump, as you will do, and that door came open and his phone went flying out. So no more phone. And it got me realizing that the way this actuates, it actually clips closed, but the actuator in there wants to open the door, whereas on the Road Glide, the actuator wants to close the door. So if you're going to default open, you got a chance of losing stuff in there because it wants to open it up. So right then and there, that was a strike against the Street Glide. Not only did it have less amount of storage up front, whatever you do store in there isn't safe. So that's definitely a problem. say though, his new handlebars are perfect. This bike actually feels pretty good now. But the other issue that people will talk about with a Street Glide is the windshield being attached to the bars. People are either going to love that or they're going to hate that for multiple reasons. A lot of people like the fact that the windshield's attached to the bars because when you move the handlebars, you're able to move the headlight. Everything moves with it. So people will talk about the Road Glide, as I'm checking my mirrors. He's just got these bars put on and you can't really see the mirrors. But people will talk and say, oh, well, you know, the Road Glide, when you turn the handlebars, the headlights don't move. And you're right. But if you're going fast enough to keep your feet up, then your handlebars really aren't going to move. The only time they're going to move like that is in a parking lot. I mean, yeah, you can turn your bike around in a parking lot without putting your feet down, but that's the only time your handlebars are really going to move. Like if I were to switch lanes right now, then my headlight's not going to move, my handlebars aren't going to move. You know, I can go 20 miles an hour and I go around like a little swooping curve, my handlebars aren't going to move. So I don't understand why people say that unless they just maybe add a stop sign and want to aim their headlight. I don't get that. But why some people will not like this fairing is because it is attached to the whole front end. The older models used to have bad buffeting. I don't feel it as much in this one. But if you're going, 80 to 100 miles an hour on the freeway, and I'm not saying, you're just going real fast for a short amount of time. I mean, no, you're on the freeway and you're traveling. I mean, if you're riding, you can get that wind to hit that front fairing, and that's attached to your handlebars. So you're going to get some shake. Now, I've taken this bike on the highway, and I don't feel it as bad on this one as I did his old Street Glide. Now, his old Street Glide, I believe, was like a 06. Now, that one, in my opinion, was plagued with Street Glide problems. Just having those little issues that I felt like the Road Glide did better. Nowadays, I think it's mainly just an aesthetic, other than storage and the way it looks. Now, I kind of like having the Road Glide with the big fairing out in front of you. I will say, that's a big bike. It definitely feels a lot bigger than this. So if you don't want a big bike, this might be the bike for you. I will say you need to change the handlebars, but I'd probably say that on the Road Glide too. And it's definitely more difficult to do because you have to get in here and take all this stuff out and take the fairing, at least the front fairing and everything apart. Whereas on the Road Glide, you don't have to do that. But I will say, the speaker system on the Street Glide, at least in stock form, is better than the Road Glide. Not because the system's better, but it's going to sound a little better because the speakers are right here at you and they're facing you. Whereas the Road Glide, they're a little bit further and they're kind of angled up. So I feel like I can hear the Street Glide a little better at speed than I can the Road Glide. But that might just be all in my head. I don't know. But that's pretty much it on the Street Glide, I feel like. There's not many differences on the newer ones. I guess I'd have to say, I kind of don't hate the new Street Glide. It's not necessarily my pick. I don't know what's going on here. This is our Harley dealership where all the rally riders go, so no telling how traffic's going to be. But I don't hate the Street Glide. It's not the bike for me. I will say, if you are in the market for a Street Glide, I definitely suggest the 2017 and up. The way they do the newer bike is just a lot better than the older bike. I definitely get this over an older one, and you can probably find a bunch of them. That's another advantage to the Street Glide. I guess you could call it an advantage or a disadvantage, but there's hundreds of thousands of these for sale because everyone buys a Street Glide. Now, in my opinion, that's kind of turning over because everyone's hating on the Street Glide, so everyone's buying a Road Glide. But the Road Glide skipped some production years, whereas the Street Glide didn't. So there's definitely going to be more available. But let me know down in the comment section below what you like better. Street Glide, Road Glide, and obviously there is the one in between. I guess I wouldn't call it in between, but there's another one you can look at, which is the Road King, because all three bikes are the same bike. The Road King, Street Glide, Road Glide, they're all the same motorcycle. The only difference is the fairing. From here forward, it's a different bike. But other than that, it's all the same bike. But definitely like the video, comment down below what you think. Do you have a preference over one or the other? And definitely subscribe if you're not. But as always, keep it wretched.